All right, guys. We're going to take a look at our game versus the Eastview. I've got a few notes that we're going to go over. We're going to watch about 10 minutes of action and then basically going to wrap up. Thank you guys for taking a look at this. I think that it'll be helpful. We're going to go over some of our sets, some of our actions on offense, and some of the things we did well on defense, and talk through a few points here. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to look at is actually one of the first sets that we ran in the game. We're actually going to take a look at quick. Okay, so if we take a look at our spacing, we get a very close entry pass. What we want to do, and we talked about it today, is we want to be a little bit higher. We want to be up towards the semicircle mark, and we want to pass that vertically high to low, and that gives us a lot of space to run downhill and set this screen up for Dane. Okay, so if we go through this action, we still get the entry pass. We set a screen, kind of. Dane slips and gets downhill. We get right into our dribble handoff action. Now what we need to do here is we need to actually hold the ball and wait for Dane to clear through Luke before we actually run this dub action. Okay, so be patient, wait for him to cut through so that he clears out his defender and we get a two-man ISO on one half of the floor. Right now we're kind of running through a bunch of jumbled mess. As a result, even though you turn the corner, we don't get a good pass back, we don't get a good look, and basically the play's dead, and we go straight into 41, which isn't bad. We get some decent movement, and if we go ahead and move to later on in the possession, we actually get a great look here in 41. All right, so we'll fast forward to our next possession, and we're in 41. We get our initial look, we space, we swing, we get nothing, we skip, we get right into some ball screen action. Right now we set a 1, we get a look, and if we actually pay attention here, there's nobody on the backside. If we go over the top here, even though 51's pretty big on the screen, we actually have a decent high-low here. That lane is wide open. If we can retreat dribble, pass over the top here, we can either dump down to this guy if 34 helps, or we can kick it to Carson on this wing if 25 sinks down. But right now, there's nobody in the lane. Retreat dribble, hard pass to Luke. He gets a drop step finish. All right, nothing there. We work the ball around. We get another screen. Dane crosses over, finds a gap. We get a bucket. All right. We're going to go ahead to 228, our next possession. Let's see how we do. So we're running 41 here. Luke attacks the basket, drives baseline. We get our spacing. We move the ball around. We get a 2 screen here. Owen doesn't get anything. He reverses the ball. Quick snap by Kyle, and we get a corner 3 by Carson. It's a great look. All we had to do was move the ball a little bit, and we get an easy look. We're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at low at about 4 minutes. All right, so right now we're running low. And if we take a look at how this screen is getting set, we get a good ball reversal. Carson catches it in the low corner. We set a 1 screen. Here's what we need to do is we need to actually set this. Right now, we're set up to set a 6 screen, which is basically a back screen. What we need to do is square off, and instead of facing the sideline, we need to face the baseline. All right, so Luke, we got to take these feet and shoulders, plant them on this high side so that Carson can rub shoulders. By doing that, we seal 25 in the corner, and as you spin to roll, we're playing 2-on-1 against 51, whose feet aren't probably going to move very well. All right, instead, we don't really get anything. Our spacing's a little messed up. Owen has to go to the corner. We skip, we get a nice drive and a good left-handed finish by Dane. Okay, so we just need to work on setting those screens a little square when we run that 41 action, especially in low. All right, so we're going to fast forward here. We're going to take a look at our next action here, and we're going to go back to low at about the 5-minute mark. All right, so we got a defensive stop. We're running low. In this case, we get a ball reversal, and we get a low screen with Jack and Luke. Now take a look at this screen that Jack sets. All right, he gets his body, gets his shoulder into him. What he needs to do now is he needs to plant this left foot, and he needs to spin this right foot back and open up and seal 34 on his back. Instead, he turns left and he tucks his shoulder, and he doesn't create an open window, and we end up bouncing this entry pass off this guy's foot. Okay, but if we set this left foot, we open up, we seal him on our back, we create a wider gap for the bounce pass, and if 51 steps up, we can throw it over the top to nobody standing at the block. All right, easy fix. We still almost get a bucket, by the way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our next set, which is 43. Let's take a look at our spacing. So we need a dub. We get downhill. Now what we need to do off this dub action is we need to actually get downhill and we need to run this faster, okay? Instead of the hesitation, Luke, we need to be sprinting through the screen and getting downhill to this backside to clear out space for the lob. We hesitate, we go through the screen super slow, we don't get any spacing, and the play is dead. All right, and then we just got to go to our next option, which is going to be a little bit of, improv by Dane. We get a decent dump down. And a little bit more on the finish, and we get an easy bucket. We're going to move on to some defense here. This is one of the first red calls of the game. Okay, so if you weren't here on Christmas break, red is trapping at the wing on the first pass. In this case, the first pass is actually a dribble handoff right in the corner, which sets up a decent trap. The only thing I would critique here is, Luke, we need to slide up a little bit higher and take away this gap at half court. If we slide our feet and we take away this drive, he has no daylight to go, and we get this trap in the corner. We get a turnover here, but a good referee is going to see you leaning in with that lower body and is going to call you for a foul. If we slide our feet and take it away all the way to the half-court line, he's got nowhere to go. He picks up his dribble, and we get the 5-second call or a pass turnover. All right? Not a bad first attempt, though. We're going to move on, and we're going to actually run quick at about the 8:20 mark. Let's take a look. Let's see how our spacing is the second time we run this. All right, so we get an entry pass. Take a look at how close we are. Why are we getting so close to the guy we want to pass to? We want to stretch the defense. We want to be setting this screen way up here, high-low to Jackson, instead of dribbling over to him and passing it 6 feet. Now, Cole, we go and set a decent screen. The guy has to trail, and we actually get this right in a kind of tough gap with number 11 helping. A decent pass by Jackson, but if we set this screen lower and we wait for it, we've got more space to curl off of that, and we got an easier entry pass. Great look, though. All right, we're going to move on. We're actually going to take a look at a defensive series that got us a great stop. Okay, so ball comes down. Let's take a look at our rotation. All right. They run basically a little different version of our 44 if you look at it right. All right. Most likely they stole this from me last year. All right, they ran it the opposite way, and instead of running a flare screen, they take this into a ball screen. All right, so we won this. Jack steps up. Cole sinks. They pass to the corner. We get a good switch on the reversal. We pressure the ball. Good instincts by Dane, seeing that his back is turned and that he's picking up his dribble. And then we get a great backside rotation by Kyle for a nice tip return and an easy bucket. Yeah. Nice job, guys. All right, next. Let's take a look at something that has been a real problem for me these last couple weeks, and I think that we've been practicing enough that we should be able to fix this. We get our first baseline out of bounds play, and we run Atlanta. Now, look at what happens here. If you're looking at the clock right now, the ball goes out at 10:02. We know that we're going to be running a baseline out of bounds play, and immediately, Jack, you pass the ball to the referee, and you go stand right in the spot that I tell you not to stand in. All right, and now look at these guys right here. All right, he wants you to slide over there. Now, we're running Atlanta right now, and here's our setup. All right, we've got Jackson standing right here. We've got, it looks like, Owen standing right underneath the basket. He should be right here. And then Luke, you know very well that you should be right over here. All right. Fortunately, we don't get set and we don't run anything. And unfortunately, that's all the time we've got. But we need to work on executing our out-of-bounds plays. Otherwise, I've got a few other notes I'm going to go over through the second video. And here's what we've got.